What's up, guys? Look at this. I just came from the Dollar Tree parking lot across from Pepper's and could not believe 18 of those. 18 of them in the parking lot when I pulled in. I was like driving over them like little bumps and I went, what is that? So, my son and I had a conversation about how alcohol can be a problem, and our question, really became, was this person driving? Or was this person maybe houseless? Was it a group of kids? And the answer is that we don't know, right? So, alcohol's always been a problem. But alcohol is the legal one, right? Now, I'm not saying that weed isn't sometimes a problem, but we have recorded medicinal purposes, religious sacrament purposes, dating back to 8,000 BC. 8,000 BC. But we villainized the plant. And when we did that, we medicalized everything. And now, as Americans, we take the most pharmaceutical drugs and we pay the most for them. And who is the most medicated? The women. The women. Which is interesting because women weren't even included in clinical trials for drugs until 1990. I was alive in 1990. It's only like 30 years ago, friends. 35? Not okay. Not okay. So, along with that medicalization, we dumbed down education continuously throughout the 70s, and then definitely in 1996 with the No Child Left Behind and the rollout of Common Core. I mean, you can ask teachers, seasoned teachers that were around before, teachers that I had when I was a kid, they're like, this is atrocious, I don't know what this is, right? And then we're taking teacher autonomy. And I noticed, especially recently, that we have lost our boundaries and our moral compass, and I mean exponentially, right? So last week, on Tuesday night, they had the middle school chorus concert. And we're sitting there, and it was like, I don't know, an hour 15. It wasn't that long. And at the end, the music teacher was thanking the parents for showing up for their kids and for helping them throughout the year. And then she thanked the administration. And those were the last two things that she said. But kids and then parents were standing and walking out while this teacher, who just spent the whole year with your children, were just ignoring the fact that she was still up there speaking. When I was a kid, we never would have thought to do that. Never. We would have been seated. We would have waited until she was done, and then she would have got the deserved round of applause for putting up with all these little crap heads for a whole year. I was mortified. There are seemingly no boundaries anymore. Respect for one another has gone out the window, and I don't know where it's gone. And I think a lot of it was intentional, and a lot of it is the division, and a lot of it is the warfare. And a lot of the warfare against the cannabis plant comes from big pharma cycles, right? Comes from doctors keeping you on prescription medications, especially women. You got the Lexapro, and you've got the Paxil and the Prozac and the lithium, which they don't really use anymore, but you can get. And all these new slew of drugs. Zoloft, that's a nightmare. And then you've got the psychosomatic, diagnoses, right? Like fibromyalgia. Every female's got fibromyalgia now. Unexplained pain. No, you have trauma that hasn't been addressed, that is presenting as pain within the body because it's causing the nervous system to malfunction. Cannabis, friends. Okay? And not every day. Let's talk about the boundaries. Let's talk about not needing to be medicated every day. Let's talk about actually feeling your emotions. How about being able to cry? Can you cry? Crying is good for you, actually. Cleanses the soul. I kept questioning for a long time if I was wrong on this, because the cannabis has done a lot for me. And somebody attacked me a couple weeks ago, somebody in recovery though, so we know that, once there's that lack of boundaries, it's very, very hard for people who have gone down the meth, molly, heroin road to come back to being sovereign and be able to, like, have a beer. They can't do that. To be able to smoke a joint, meh. It depends. It depends on the person, and it depends on your, mental resilience. It depends on your ability to be able to self-regulate. And that's anything, right? It's all a choice. Any drug use is a choice. But why have we villainized the plant? Because it's money cycles. I've been saying for years that I'm in favor of the cannabis plant, that I know that it has therapeutic uses, medical uses, and people were hating on me. And I'm like, okay, but then I can go to the Walmart and we're just advocating drug use by handing out test strips for the heroin and the cocaine. So how is that different than me going, hey, why don't I teach you how to use this sacred plant medicine that wasn't developed by men, that, wasn't handed out intentionally in our cities, okay? Because I hate to say it, but there is, actually I don't hate to say it because it's the truth, there is a level of intellect and a level of self-respect that goes with the use of those drugs. So, on Friday night, Friday the 13th, I am hosting, at 7 o'clock, a cannabis class. And I would love to see you there. And, I am a doula. And another reason that I'm really, I think, waking up to the fact that what we're doing, in the direction that we've gone for the last 100 years was maybe the wrong direction, is that I see these women coming to the fore and going, we're not supposed to be birthing flat on our back. And I'm so grateful that we're waking up to that that reality. And I see a lot of things going on in medicalization that just are not good for us, and starting to question maybe the morphine and the Pitocin and all of the things that we're injecting into our newborn sacred lives. And so I really have been putting myself out there, right? I've been putting myself out for, like, teaching prenatal yoga, teaching teen prenatal yoga. And I didn't get a big response from that. And I actually got a wonky response from the school district on that, which broke my heart, because I know right now in the middle school there's at least one pregnant teen. And I know for a fact in the high school there's at least one pregnant teen, because I know these children. So I would like to see some help on that. And then people are going, but you're not charging for it, Jill. Well, what do you want me to charge them? Charge your worth. Well, I would love to charge my worth, but I live in a county where 70% of moms are on Medicaid. 70%. Now, if I had enrolled with Medicaid last year to be able to bill Medicaid directly, then I could do that. But last year, the person I thought I was going to marry impregnated a teenager. Or supposedly. That's yet to be decided, I guess. But, okay, this radicalized me, and the pain, like, I had to turn it into something. So I was like, well, let's get the pregnant teens and let's show them how to be a parent. Because when you come from these cycles of drug use and medicalization and, public education, where we've just decided that public ed should be teaching our kids everything, which is why I'm such an advocate of homeschool. So let's go, like, totally full on crunchy here. It tracks, okay? I graduated as someone who bucked the system by telling the school that I wasn't going to get up and come there in the morning just so they could get their state aid dollars if they didn't have a class for me. And the only thing that they had to offer me senior year, because I didn't need that many classes, was a study hall. So I came at them with truth and reality and said, look, I have a boyfriend, I don't live at home, I have a job, I have car payment, I have bills, and I'm not getting out of bed to come here with nothing to do. And eventually the school system gave in. We have created all of these false structures. And these kids nowadays are way more awake than we think they are. And part of the reason that they're self-medicating is because they see that these structures are false. They see that a lot of the crap that they're getting is false. They don't want to be sitting for hours at a time in these classrooms, and so they're going off the rails. There's a little girl in the middle school who's not allowed to go to the bathroom right now because she's vaping all the time. We have one little girl in the city who keeps running away from home, and I don't know, God help that poor child, because it has been like 3 years of this consistently that she is missing. Because wherever she is in, she does not want to be in. Okay, we have to start shifting narratives. So am I going to put myself down for teaching you how to use the plant? No. Because today my son and I counted that we have nine stores just in the city. Okay, that's not counting Seneca Falls or Union Springs or Ithaca, where they have weed stores. These are stores that are selling, probably for sure to our minors, that are selling unregulated products, that are selling 99% THC, okay? And we know the CBD is a protective factor. It's a neurological protective factor. It's a psychological protective factor. It is a modulator of the THC. Okay, we know that only 2 of those stores within the city are OCM, which means they are run by the Office of Cannabis Management. They are not selling to our children, and they are selling regulated products. It is a tool when we use it as a tool. But when we throw it out there as everybody gets a power saw and nobody knows how to use it, that's when we start losing fingers, right? That's when it becomes a problem. When we're using it to escape our daily life because we've created a nonsense society based in false medicine, based in baloney theatrical politics, this is what we get. So if you would like to learn more about me, about the cannabis plant, about birth, about homeschool, about yoga, please come talk to me, because guys, this is a revolution and it is time to take our power back. There is no reason for us to be a nation of addicts. There is no reason for us to be a nation of alcoholics, and there is no reason for us to not be respecting one another. Okay, anyways, I'm done. I love you. Have a good day. See ya.